Good morning, readers. Well, it is Friday, March the 4th, and I am marching forth with the new release of Bobby, Breaking the Pattern. This is the third book in the Breaking the Pattern series. And so if you have been following Henry's and Sandy's stories, you might be wondering what happens to Bobby. Now you can find out. If you haven't been reading the rest of the series, then that's okay too, because it can easily be read as a standalone, although you might decide you want to go back and see what happened in the other books as well. Okay, so I am going to do a reading from Bobby, Breaking the Pattern, and this is from the first chapter. Bobby watched the scenery flash past the window, feeling a little carsick. He swallowed and glanced at Elsie. "What are they like?" he squeaked. He swallowed and cleared his throat. "I wish I didn't have to leave Devenish's." "I know," Elsie agreed in a low, soothing voice. She fiddled with the radio dial, looking for something to provide background, something to help Bobby stay calm. "But I really think this is going to be a good home for you. And at your age, it could even be your last foster home." Bobby shook his head. Sometimes he stayed in one foster home for a few years, but he always got moved again sooner or later. He wished that this could be his last foster home, but he would not count on it. "Katya is the mum," Elsie told him. "I really think you'll like her. She seems really nice, very warm and outgoing. She's single, no husband or boyfriend on the scene." Bobby sucked his cheeks in, thinking about that. Elsie knew that he'd had conflicts with foster fathers before. It didn't seem to matter whether they were nice or abusive. He always butted heads with them over something. The sporty ones hated how uncoordinated and hopelessly unathletic he was. The brainy ones thought that he should work harder and not be so concerned about his social life. And the abusive ones, well, it didn't matter what you did, they just didn't like you out of principle. There was always something. "That's good," he agreed. "And other kids?" "Just one. A little girl. She's Katya's natural daughter. You're her first foster child." "She's just starting out?" Bobby questioned, surprised. Usually, the homes he went to, they'd been fostering for years. All the rules were set up, and they could be as hard-nosed as any social worker. "Yes, but don't you go trying to take advantage of her," she warned. "Show her how much fun it can be." Bobby rested his head back against the headrest, closing his eyes. "Yeah, fun." "Now, come on," Elsie remonstrated. "You've had some good families, some good experiences." "Yeah, but when you get to the good ones, then it's that much worse when you have to leave." She sighed, tapping her nails on the steering wheel. "I suppose." Bobby looked out the window again, looking at the neighborhood. "I haven't been around here before," he observed. Elsie nodded. "It's kind of a funny area, close to downtown. There's a real mix of inner city families that struggle to make ends meet, and then there are the sort of yuppie families, I guess. Professionals who want to be close to the office, nice condos, single family dwellings, all that. Quite a combination." Bobby nodded. "Which is Katya?" he questioned. He'd lived with poor families, some families that really struggled, families that fostered kids just to have the extra money to try to put food on the table for everyone, or that they gambled away trying to make it big. "Katya would be the latter," Elsie said, looking as if she were trying to hold back the smile that tugged at the corners of her mouth. "She's not hurting. It'll be a nice change for you." "Yeah." Bobby was used to Elsie trying to push him into liking a family before he even saw them, telling him how great they were, trying to hype it up so he'd be excited about meeting them. But he wasn't excited about meeting anyone new. He wanted a permanent home, somewhere that he could stay until he aged out of the system, he supposed. That was as much as a guy could hope for from the system. Semi-permanent permanence. "I'll give them a chance," he assured Elsie. She nodded, giving him a warm smile. "I know you will. You're a good kid." Bobby shrugged and felt the warmth of a blush filling his ears and creeping up his face. He flipped down the visor and opened the flap for the vanity mirror and examined himself. He did want to make a good impression on the new family, however much he might hate starting somewhere new again. But what he saw in the mirror wasn't too impressive. He looked too short, thin, and gawky. His hair was messy, again, even though he'd combed it and pressed it down before leaving the Devonish house and getting into the car. He hated its tendency to curl. He should have worn a cap to keep it pressed down and keep it from getting messed up. But he didn't even have a cap to put on. All his clothes were carefully folded and stuffed into his backpack. Anything he could fit in the backpack, anything he couldn't fit in the backpack, was free for all for the other kids. All his worldly possessions were in that one bag. In the visor mirror, his teeth were too prominent. No one wanted to give foster kids braces. It was hugely expensive, and the system wouldn't pay for it. He could get braces once he was older, an adult looking after himself. Assuming he actually was looking after himself and not in jail or homeless. Many foster kids ended up in dead-end jobs. That's just the way it was. Bobby sighed and pushed the visor back up again. He didn't need to see any more. He could pretend that he didn't see the rest. The glasses, the slightly misaligned eyes and crooked smile. All the things that made it painfully obvious to the rest of the world that he would never be popular or a jock. He pushed up his glasses as they slid down his sweaty nose, then changed his mind and pulled them off, sliding them out of sight into his shirt pocket. "You look fine," Elsie said. "You just smile and be friendly. They'll love you." "Uh-huh. You always get along somehow." Bobby chewed on his bottom lip. "Yeah." She turned the music up a bit and looked ahead as she drove, leaving him to mentally prepare himself. Okay, so that is chapter 1 of Bobby, Breaking the Pattern. You can find links to buy it below or to pop over to my blog, read some more about Bobby, and read about some of the other young adult books that I have featured there today. Maybe there's something else that you would like to pick up as well. All right, I will talk to you again next week. Happy reading.